Give a big round of the hand. Give a big round. Give a big round. Give a big round. Give a big round. Give a big round of the hand. Give a big round. Give a big round. Big round. Give a big round. Give a big.
We could have homes on separate coasts, go dive in Greece with squids. Could have been so bleeping rich, but instead we had kids. They won't smile for a photo, they won't eat the food we choose. That's why we're heading to the parents' lounge to drown ourselves in booze. Every day we're more exhausted, we haven't slept in years. They hit me in the nuts so bad, my eyes filled up with tears. And yes, we'd like to fake our death and go off of the grids, but the truth is we are softies and we truly love our kids. So join us every Tuesday night to laugh at all our pain. Evening in the parents' lounge is the cure to staying sane. Thank you to everybody stopping by the Parents Lounge here on a Tuesday night. I'm Jamie Kaler with my my cohorts, Jason Gowan and Kate Mulligan. Hey guys, how are you?
Good. I am fantastic. Got a special Thursday show.
I know, that's right. I forget it's a Thursday. It's a special Thursday show here. And if you're watching this live, thank you for tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch or Twitter. And if you're listening to this on iTunes, then come catch us live because it's in the moment. And we can take all of your questions for our wonderful guests this evening or comments that we like to pop up. Hello from Peru, says Baliaro.
I'm assuming they're here for Andrea, but we may have a huge Peru following. I'm not really sure.
I love Peru. I'm all over Peru. We have a fantastic show, and I don't want to keep her waiting because we're so lucky to have her tonight. Huge fans. She is a wonderful person. You might know her from The Days of Our Lives, Fuller House, and hopefully one day The Fullest House as the character Kimmy Gibbler. She is an author. Probably from her English degree from Whittier College. She's very, very smart. She is an author. She wrote the book Full Circle, From Hollywood to Real Life and Back Again. She's been in every Christmas movie ever made. And she has a fantastic Full House rewatch podcast with Jodie Sweet called How Rude, Tanneritos. Please welcome Andrea Barber.
Hi.
Hello.
That was such a nice intro. Thank you.
I worked on it. Honestly, I never.
I'm just as tickled by it. So thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. We're really excited to have you.
Thanks for inviting me.
I've done a lot of kids shows where I did like Shake It Up, Saved by the Bell, Austin and Ally, tons and tons of these. And you might be one of 4 child actors who successfully made it to adulthood. And so congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you. Or maybe I'm just putting on a good act. You never know. I'm gonna go in the back and smoke some blow, no, I'm not doing that. Don't do that, kids. I don't know.
See how she said smoke the blow so that we know she's joking. But
I don't know what the terms are. Is that even? I don't know what the terms are. I need to know.
Smoke the blow, Mulligan. You've definitely smoked some blow before.
Listen, I will tell you, mostly blow is snorted. But that being said, you do you.
Hey,
I believe Richard Pryor. They did smoke it. You would smoke cocaine. Well, we're off to a running start here.
So the Full House crowd is completely confused and lost right now.
By the way, I will tell you, I have never seen the chat. I don't know if you saw Andrea. Like as the chat, the 3 of us are just doing a quick intro, and people are already like, "Where is Andrea?"
Where is she?
How dare you do the intro?
We're just going to fade into the background, and Andrea has prepared her own one-woman show that she will be performing over the next hour. It's going to be fantastic.
So sweet. Oh.
You have a book. I can't. How do you sit down and write a book? You actually went. You were a child actor. You went. You got a degree. You had kids. You had a life, and now you're kind of back doing entertainment and stuff. But how is it with juggling 2 little kids these days?
Well, I have 2 big kids now.
How old are your kids?
How old are your kids? Because I don't think people know.
Yeah, well, and I only know you guys because of the intro I watched it. I'm like, oh, they've got little kids. I have a 16-year-old girl and a 19-year-old boy. I call him my baby adult because he's an adult, but he's kind of a baby.
My
So he's a
mom
baby.
also calls me that.
Yeah, still, right?
Mine are 10 and 8. Jason's younger than me, and
Yeah,
Kate.
I have a 7-year-old and twin 4-year-old boys.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay. I'm tired. I'm
Yeah.
tired just hearing about that.
Yeah, I know.
So
I've
you're
got-
kind of a you're like
Doesn't matter what
Jacob Marley. You're like the future door knocker of what's
Oh,
to
man.
come for us. You're
No,
the
that's too much
foreboding.
pressure. I was hoping to get advice from somebody out there who
We have
lives with
nothing to offer you.
teenagers and is always
No.
on edge. That's okay. You can be moral support, you know?
Well, let me ask you this, Andrea, because I imagine growing up in show. Well, I don't know. Were your parents in show business at all, or was this sort of uncharted territory for you having this wildly successful show? And I think arguably being the most popular character on that show.
Oh, no. It was-
Truly. I mean, maybe Michelle Tanner, but like, I mean, I just feel like you must have either had, you just must have had great parents. You must have learned from people that were like, we're going to keep you grounded. Or was that not the situation? I'm curious to know what you grew up with.
Yeah, no, I had very grounded parents. They weren't in show business at all. Like this wasn't a lifelong dream or what, it was. We kind of went into it with ignorance. Our family hobby was doing community theater, like the whole family together. So we would do a Christmas Carol and other types of, family holiday shows. And it was there that I was discovered by my agent, who was looking for fresh talent. And so, long story short, she signed me and my 2 older brothers right there on the spot. And we all tried it out. And I had a lot of luck, I think, because I was a little girl who was cute with pigtails. And my brothers, they were successful too, but they were older. So by the time they got to high school, they were like, this sucks. Like, we don't want to keep auditioning and auditioning. Like, it takes up a lot of time.
Yes.
Even if you're not employed, you're still going on auditions or taking headshots or doing things like that. So they quit once they got to high school. They're like, we want to play varsity sports and we're done with Hollywood. And that was great. My parents supported that. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to keep going. And not just because I'm under contract with some of these shows. But yeah, I genuinely enjoyed it and had good balance in my life. Mainly because I didn't live in Hollywood. Like, I've always lived in Orange County, California. And so I didn't go to parties. Like, I didn't do the Hollywood scene at all. I was at home, either making my bed or going to the Friday night football game at my high school, doing very normal kid things. And I had a good group of friends at school growing up. So I think the fact that I stayed out of Hollywood for a lot of the time too, that must have helped as well.
Yeah.
That's the theory I'm going with. I don't know.
That's a good
But I
theory.
do credit my parents. With they never pushed me. They were like, anytime this doesn't get fun, you can quit. You just can't quit on the middle of the freeway of the 101 in weekday traffic.
Yes.
But if you want to quit like over a weekend, think about it and then write a letter to your agent. And if you want to quit, we support you. And I did take a 6-month hiatus. I was like, it was in
How old were
between
you?
shows. Oh gosh, I was definitely a young teen. So I want to say 13, 14, maybe 15. And yeah, I was just like, I just don't want to do this for 6 months. And I wasn't under contract during those 6 months. So they were like, okay, just write a letter to your agent. And I said, I'm taking a 6-month break. And she was like, all right, let me know when you're back. And that was it. I was just a kid for 6 months, no auditions, no, like nothing. No picture taking, no photo ops, like nothing. And it was
It's so
great.
funny
And I
you
was
say
ready
that.
to come back.
Because one of the topics we have kind of listed is quitting stuff, because nowadays, like, my daughter's doing swim club. It's like 11 months of the year. And nobody rotates like we always grew up doing, soccer in the fall or football, and then basketball in spring was baseball. And you kind of got a well-rounded thing. But nowadays, I don't know if your kids are past this or they're a little older, but nowadays, like, kids join clubs right out of the chute, and they're doing this thing like all year long. And my daughter, she was doing soccer. And then at one point, the season wasn't even over. And she's like 8 years old. And she's like, I'm done. I'm done with this.
Mm-hmm.
And part of me was like, you finish what you started. But then finally I was like, yeah, I'm done too. I feel like we're both done at this point. I'm done driving you 4 nights a week.
It's a full-time job for the parent and the child too.
But I did have this thing about, with my kids going, finish what you start. It's such a cliche, but
no, it's true. It's true. And
Our 7-year-old tried quitting in the middle of the soccer season when we've told him he could no longer pretend to be a velociraptor on the field. And that was a deal breaker for him.
oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, you can't hunt the other children, but you are going to finish the season. So
What were you
Smart.
like that as a parent? Were you kind of on top of them to be like, finish what you started? Were you like, whatever, I don't care?
In theory, yes. Like that is our philosophy too. It's like you don't have to do this forever, but you have to finish a season. Or, if you're doing a play, you have to finish the run of the play. But it's hard when the kids are just like, and I think when they're little, it's good to experience a lot of things. Like
too.
some of these kids that have played like major soccer since age 3, and they do it their whole childhood. And I'm like, but did you ever try baseball or chess or I don't know, anything else? That's the time to explore lots of different things. So I wanted my kids to do, baseball and soccer and performing arts, just to get a whole wide variety of things. But it is hard when they're tired and cranky and whining, and you got to drive that whiny person to their sports practice or whatever
just to gather their stuff and get out the door. I'm like, well, I wish my kid didn't like sports at all. I wish she was just a nerd who wanted to sit in her room and play on the computer.
No, you don't want that.
No, I don't want that.
No.
Were your kids did they do a lot of sports when they were younger?
My son did. He did every sport under the sun. He loved soccer. He did baseball in the summertime. And he did do basketball for a season in high school. And then he just stopped. He was just like, you know what? He's not really a team sport kid. This is what it took me a long time to figure out. But he likes athletics. So he liked jiu-jitsu. He got involved in Aikido and jiu-jitsu, and he really took a liking to that. And I'm like, okay, so maybe the pressure of team sports is too much. Like I'm remembering one game, a soccer game, where he scored a goal for the other team, and he cried, and it was so. And I'm like, I know, buddy. I know it's like it's a mistake, and everybody saw it. That's hard to come back from.
My daughter did that. So we're going into the fourth quarter, and they try to rotate the positions. And I assistant coach. I'm always like, I'll assistant coach, but I don't want to do the lineups or anything. So he goes to put my daughter into net in the fourth quarter of a tie game. And she's like in tears. She's so afraid that she's going to give up the game-winning goal. She's like, yeah. I go, dude, you got to pull her. She can't make it. And she's like, I pulled her out of net. And some other kid got scored on, and that kid was just inconsolable. That kid's going to be in therapy at like 35. But I was like,
so much pressure.
I know it's so much pressure on these, even though they get a trophy for finishing 13th. So it's like, who cares at some point?
But you don't want to be embarrassed in front of your peers. It's that peer scrutiny. Although I don't know if kids are really scrutinizing each other. Like they're so self-absorbed and insecure that I think they're too busy thinking about themselves to judge other people.
I could not agree more. I feel like my son's always like, but what if they look at me? And I'm like, good luck with that. No one's going to look at you. Mm-hmm. Everybody's looking at themselves.
That's my old joke. The best thing about LA is that you never have to worry what anybody thinks about you because everybody's thinking about themselves. I try to tell my daughter that about like, you're obsessed with, but who cares? But it's hard not to care what other, especially coming in the performing arts. Yeah. Did your kids, did they act at all?
My daughter is the more of a performer. She wasn't really, she tried soccer for like a month. But no, she's got the performer gene. Like she's got it. She's got the stage presence. But she just, she needed discipline for a long time because she would just kind of sit in the back and like have this scowl on her face during all of the like singing and dancing. And she's back there with her resting, face. And I'm like, Felicity, you got to like, turn it on for the audience, So she's gotten better. Now she's in show choir. So that's her thing, which is like a sport. Like you get athletic credit now for doing show choir in high school, which I did not know until she started show choir, but she loves it.
What is show? I know choir and I know show. Show choir is like choir for Broadway musicals or something?
It's like dancing and singing. It's both, but there's equal importance on both. So they'll do like show tunes and sing and dance and do little like mini stories within the songs. It's cute. It's fun.
That's kind of interesting. It's like, it's like when I grew up, it was just cheering, but now cheering is like the most incredible, dangerous sport known to mankind where they're flipping each other like, it's nuts what they're doing. Yeah.
It's dangerous.
Air gymnastics. We can say it. It's air gymnastics.
It's
now.
Air gymnastics.
Yes. But my kids never, to answer your original question, or maybe you didn't ask this, I'll answer anyways. Did a lot of people ask me, did you ever want to get your kids into acting, or did your kids ever ask if they could get into acting at Hollywood? And I was always like, well, until they express an interest, like, no, I'm not going to push that on them because that's a full-time job for the parent as well as the kid. And I didn't want to like sign them up for it unless they were super into that. So my daughter did get curious at one point when she was like, I don't know, 10 years old, maybe 8, 9, 10, around that age. And so we had her as an extra on the show I was on. I'm not mentioning names or details because, as all of you know, Screen Actors Guild is on strike right now. So
That's
I'm in solidarity with my union, so I'm not talking specifics about any of my past work. But the show that I was on at the time, I said, come be an extra be a background actor in one of these like kid scenes. And so she did. She was only there for 2 days, and she was like, this is hard work. Like, it's a lot of sitting around and waiting, and the lights are hot, and I had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and then work all these hours. And I'm like, yeah, it's a job. It's not like I don't just play. Like, it's not just playing things, it's work. So that kind of killed that dream, and she hasn't asked about acting ever since. So she
actually, every kid should do that once so they can see, instead of seeing the 18 seconds of glory on screen, to go, it was like 2 straight days of horrifying sitting around bored out of your mind. My daughter did the same. She did one line on a show I worked on.
Oh, no way. That's great.
But she did like one take, and she's like, see you later. Started heading back to her trailer. And the guy's like, where you going? He goes, she goes, what? I'm done. He goes, no. First of all, we're going to do numerous takes.
Yeah.
Then we're going to move the camera. Then we're going to do more numerous. She was like,
oh God, single cam. Yeah.
She was like, Dad, I'm so confused. What's happening? And it kind of knocked it out of her as well. She's like, yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah. Once it becomes not as fun anymore.
So Rebecca, this is a great question, because Rebecca says, my daughter begs me to let her do YouTube videos. And honestly, she's kind of a natural, but I worry too much. And I tell her no. Rebecca, a really good friend of mine, told his daughter no. And she was like, okay, Dad. And then 3 months later, his son came to him and said, hey, Dad, I think I should tell you, she's been posting YouTube videos. And she had put 60 videos up. And she actually had a pretty good, she was starting to grow. And he went to her and was like, hey, what are you doing? And he kind of explained to her, he went through the parameters of who was following her. And she was like a 14-year-old girl. And it was like 90% 40-year-old guys were watching her. And he's like, do you see who your fan base is? And I think she was like, but they're fan. It's like, you can't.
I'm not going to get the sponsorship deal without them, Dad.
I mean, what do you think about kids doing? I mean, these kids, here's the problem. Some of them are making jillions of dollars on these things by like opening presents or playing a video game. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it depends on the age of the child. I know there is that one boy, Ryan, who opens presents all the time, but I think his parents are so heavily involved. Like, he's not really reading comments or
it's a meat puppet for the parents, right? The parents are like, do this. Yeah.
So
did you not call the child a meat puppet?
He's a meat. We're all like, all actors are meat puppets. Please don't push it.
Meat puppets. Meat puppet reporting for duty here.
Yeah.
But I think it can inspire creativity. Like, my daughter started doing like vlogs for like family vacations and stuff. But she posted like 2 videos on YouTube and then gave up. So I was like, all right, I'm not worried about that. But I do worry because she was in my vlog. I did a vlog on YouTube back when I was working on a show. And so she was in my vlog, but she would read comments and stuff. And I think, some of them are not so nice. And so I was like, yeah, I got to get my kids. Like, then I became uncomfortable with putting my kids out there on my YouTube page. And I'm just like, how do I hide the comments from them? Or do I have to moderate them? Like, I don't know. That was a weird territory. And then I haven't vlogged in like 2 years. So that was my solution, was to give up. But yeah, there's a lot of gray area. It's a hard question to answer.
It's such a hard question because I did the same. And there was a comment. My daughter couldn't read them. She was so young, but somebody had said some unbelievable comment where I was like, wow, dude. And it broke my heart. Yeah. I was like destroyed. And then the same, but you can't stop them. So are we better off kind of maybe toughening them up when they're young so they don't read the comments and just go, I'm over it? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
It's hard. I think they're more emotionally vulnerable, like at those early teen years. And then they toughen up. At least my son, like, he's 19 now. So I think a lot of stuff just rolls right off his back. But in, 8th, 9th, 10th grade, he was a lot more insecure than he is now. So I think it depends on the age too, about can they handle reading those types of comments?
I agree.
So.
I'm so curious, like, do your kids understand what you mean? Like, Are you still like, will you go out with your kid like when they were even little and you're getting spotted all the time and that just becomes their normal? Like, do they understand the impact you sort of have had, that there's this many people showing up from Brazil and Peru and like that?
Yeah.
Are you still super annoying and embarrassing to them? That way, like
Depends on the day.
Yeah.
Depends on if I'm, giving them punishments or taking away their phone.
Yes.
But no, I think it's still kind of hitting that. Like, it still hits them. Like, they'll see something, I don't even know what, but just like, oh wow, you have fans like in Australia, and I'm like, well, yeah, we have fans all over the world, and they're wonderful.
Yes.
So it's stuff like that. They're just like, wow, mom, you're a real celebrity, and I'm like, yeah, I'm also your mom, so go clean your room. So I think sometimes they love it, like if it gives them clout at school, and they like the attention, so sometimes it's great. I noticed freshman year of high school, suddenly they love the fact that I am on TV, and they're just like, telling their friends, and their friends are so impressed. But before that, like middle school, they don't want to be seen with me. Like, they have actively run out of a Starbucks when I get recognized by their peers. It's embarrassing at that age. So, I just ride the wave.
If you were maybe immune to what the rest of us go through, which is that the children just despise our very presence anywhere.
I am right there with you. Yeah, I am not immune. No, actually being on TV makes it worse, because then they're just like so embarrassed. They're like, Mom, why did you wear those clothes? And why did you, they're embarrassed by, they're embarrassed by me, regardless of the type of characters I played. But
my kids are always just embarrassed about me in general, pretty much. Hey, I don't know if you've had pets, but Jason had a very interesting a pet situation this week.
So we had a cat who had a heart condition, and unfortunately, at just 4 years old, he passed away this last week.
Oh no!
And
this was set up with a different tone.
Yeah, that was not a good setup.
Okay,
can we get a second take on this?
Yeah. Well, so he has a wonderful cat. It's alive, and everyone's enjoying it.
Great. I hope that's where the story
It's taking a very long nap right now, and he has. Well, it's just a nap. He's okay. He's up in his farm in upstate New York. He's gonna be okay.
Oh wait, then there's a cat in the background. What is happening?
He's fine.
That's
He's
crazy.
back.
That cat heard you talking about the other cat and showed up.
So jealous.
That's his brother.
Oh, so he's in grief. Look, get him on the live cast here.
He is. We've been this is Buzz. We've been giving him. We had a memorial wake today for him. It was an all tuna buffet. He seemed to really enjoy himself. But my son, who is 7, has never dealt with grief before, so it was a very intense few days where he was just absolutely unconsolable. And I heard him in our hallway talking to the cat and telling him how sorry he was to the cat, that he's like, I'm so sorry that your brother left us, and he's just gone way too soon. And I don't know if you've talked to your mom at all, and then we have no idea who the mom even is. He's like, but if you want to let her know, I'll take you over there. I was like, first of all, you're 7, you can't drive, but we'll do our best to let the rest of the family know. But have you ever had grief to deal with your children, and how did you deal with it?
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Well, my mother passed away 2.5 years ago. So that's pretty recent. That's still pretty recent grief. And before that, I lost my grandparents. So we've worked our way up on the grief ladder. Like, first it's, the grandparent that they didn't see very often. And so they're like, oh yeah, that's sad. And then it's like the grandparent that they like a little bit more, so the stages of grief. But losing my mom was hard because she was so involved in my kid's life. And she passed away during like the COVID period, not like those immediate lockdowns, but it was early 2021. So like I hadn't seen her in person in a long time. And same with my kids, like we weren't allowed to see each other because she was high risk, and her residential place was they were on lockdown too. So anyways, let me not get off on a grief tangent here, but
well, they basically begged you to go off on that tangent. Just so they have set you up for that.
He did. Jason went straight to grief. I was going more like I have an older puggle. I have a almost 19-year-old puggle, and my kids are already. You can't really play with him. He can't see or hear. We feed him. He walks around. He's like, what's happening? He's waiting to say goodbye, but he's too strong. And so the kids have already they've already been like, hey, when he dies, can we get another dog? Like they're already
They've already checked
They're
out.
They've
moving
moved on, and he's
They've
not
moved
gone
on.
yet. So that's when Jason's like his cat passed. I
Aw.
was like, oh, my kids would be like, oh, thank God. We're
Yeah,
getting a
when
new
can we
cat.
go to the store or the pound?
And Jason took
Yeah.
it to grandparents and other types of.
Well, I just want to say, Andrea, I'm really sorry for the loss of your mother because
Oh, thanks. I didn't mean to bring the room down here.
No, but I mean it's not a swear. This is a real thing. People in the chat deal with this.
It is a parenting
Yeah.
thing because we had the same. We had my wife lost her mother very young in the same way. We couldn't see her forever, and we had to have that. That was honestly the hardest conversation I've ever had. We sat down with my kids. She was like 8 and 6 at the time. Sat on the front steps and we had a conversation, and everyone was like, oh. And that's when that's when parenting is really like, because it's almost more painful through your kids. Everything is. I just always say kids are kind of extensions of my nervous system, right? Now, if my kid if she hurts, I hurt. I can't stop. I'm like, oh. So
yeah.
I had my we lived next door to a woman who my son, who was 2.5 at the time when we moved into our place, she was 104, the woman next door, and she always would give him popsicles. Her name was Miss Grace, and the first person I had to explain to him had passed. I said, like, Miss Grace, she died. She's not here anymore. And he was like, did she go to heaven? And I was just like, oh, I'm going to be honest, because I just don't know. I was like, I don't know.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
I don't
That's
know.
honest.
I hope so. I don't know.
She might have killed a couple people back in her early 20s.
Oh, well, and that took a turn.
Wow.
And
okay.
then you don't know.
Parents Lounge is going dark.
Maybe
tonight.
you say it, Andrew, you say it tonight like it's not
like this is not, it's not a weekly occurrence. Okay.
Parenthood there's dark undertones to all the joy and flowers and birthday cakes. It's
well, there is. But what I was going to say is that my son, then I said, you know what? Because her sons are going to go visit. Because we knew the family, and she lived by herself at 104. So like we were always over. Like I would make dinner, and then I'd bring her the leftovers, and like she didn't have her air conditioning working. I'm like, it's 102 here. How is this? She's gonna like. But when she finally did pass, I said to my son, I'm like, we'll go bring her. We're gonna go put some flowers on the front porch. And then he said, oh, and I can make a picture. And then when Miss Grace gets back, she can see it. And the thought, the way I had to explain, like, oh no. Like, it still makes me so like
you're not coming back.
I think we've all shared enough grief-stricken stories in this.
Yeah, let's party this up again.
It's hard, no matter how it happens. It's hard.
I just think kids' concept of permanence is a very tough thing to navigate.
My concept of permanence is
I mean, nobody's good at it, right?
I've never gotten a tattoo because I'm like, I honestly don't know how I'm gonna feel tomorrow. I don't that's why marriage sometimes I'm like, we're doing this forever? I don't know. I mean, I don't know how any marriage survives, to be honest with you. I think we can all agree on that. All right, so you have 2 children.
Yes.
Most people would say, oh, I don't have a favorite child. But truth be told, 65% of people have a favorite child that they.
I do, for sure.
We absolutely do.
I for sure do. But it changes. It changes according to the season or the month.
I have a least favorite child, but the other 2 I try to keep pretty even.
And now they're saying that there's kids can get PDT. It's a parental differential treatment, and it affects them in later life. Like this is just one more thing for the kids to sue years later. Like there's a lawsuit, probably some kid who's going, I wasn't the favorite, and it hurt me, and I want money.
Wow. Yeah. No, I think there's nothing wrong with having. There's nothing wrong with having favorites. To me, the favorite kid is the one who's respecting me and hearing me and treating me with respect.
So
with teenagers, that's rare. So the fact that my 19-year-old's he's starting to crest that mountain of awfulness. Like he's right there, and he's like starting to I hear you, Mom. I understand you. Let's talk it out. I'm like, wow, this is great. And then I have the 16-year-old that just slams the door and yells, and I'm like, okay, well, she'll get there.
One of your fans, Colleen Daniels, says, oh my God, I so have a favorite child. It's my puppy because my human spawn is too needy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So your son was a troublesome teen, which is weird. I have 2 girls, and everyone tells me, they say, oh, the teen years are brutal for girls. But
I know.
Was it worse for your boy?
Well, I'm still right in the thick of it with I think it started earlier with my boy, like 13, and with my girl it's like more recent, like 15, 16. So, and I don't know, I'm not on the other side yet with either of them, but definitely not my 16-year-old. So I don't know, it's just they're different kids, so it's different challenges. They handle arguments differently. Like with my daughter, it's more of like the social pressure, social stress, fighting with girlfriends. And my son never had fights with friends. Like it was all like different types of drama. But not like boys don't fight. Like at least my kid. I mean, I hate to like assign gender stereotypes here, but boys are just like, they punch each other and they're over it,
My wife and I talk about it all the time.
Hang on to their issues and their resentment for years.
But don't you think that works forever? Because we sit there and all the moms at my kid's school, my wife will be like, ugh, there's drama again. And I go, that's something you'll never hear from one of the dads at school. The dads, a lot of drama between the dads. There's none.
No drama. Kind of refreshing. I want to adopt that.
It's funny you said that about you don't want to gender it, but it is interesting. Like even today, there was a mom was talking to me about how like the girls, like some of the girls had to be separated this year in different classes because they all have fights. And I was like, is it like I was like, do boys not fight? And it just because I have 2 sons, and it just does seem like the tensions are so high. And I think it's what part of what I feel like happens is that we sort of get set up as or for whatever reason, we see each other as our competition. Like when we hit a certain age. And I don't know, like, I guess I don't know. I've never been a guy, but does that competition exist for guys too? Like,
no. And at auditions, guys check out the girls and girls check out the other girls.
The girls. Yeah.
Right. Interesting.
So it's always, I totally agree with that, Kate. I think that is. And not to gender stereotype whatsoever.
I know, like, and I know obviously everybody's different, and of course there can be, but it does seem to me that like there's a thing that because I definitely was that way. And also I will tell you, this is like such a horrible thing to admit to a live audience, but I didn't want girls because I was like, I remember what I was like. And I remember my only job from the ages of 12 until 18 were to hate my mother. And I just can't, I don't have the confidence for someone to hate me.
So really quick, Jade Daniels says, wait, I'm confused. Can she see our comments?
Hi, Jade. I can.
She can, Jade.
I can, but there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them.
And I can't multitask, so I see some. And if you're highlighted, I can see the ones that are highlighted.
As many as we can. If you have a question, definitely pop it up, and we'll try.
Well, but we also can't talk about specific struck shows, right?
Yeah, so I'm editing as I go.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, I'm happy to answer any question that's not.
I'm actually so curious
the shows I was on.
That you were on a show that I won't mention, but as a child, and then at some point that ends, and I call it like the day after the wedding, right? Like you've been doing this thing for so long, and then then you have the wedding, and then like there's the day after the wedding where you're like, what now? Like, was there a bit of depression for you after, or is there still when a big project ends and like this family that you've built sort of disperses?
Absolutely. Yes. I do feel that after any time a project or a show ends, but I was lucky when the show ended when I was 18. I was so ready to move into college. Like I was already enrolled at Whittier College, and I was taking like part-time class. So I was doing like 2 classes because I couldn't be there all the time. But once the show wrapped, I moved into the dorms. I was just like I was like, this is a great distraction from any emotional stuff that I need to. I'm just going to shelve it for 4 years and go to college. And it was great. And I got to know so much about myself and learn about different interests that weren't acting related. I lived abroad a couple of times actually, and learned a lot about myself again and about the country we live in and how it's viewed by other countries. So yeah, it was such a great time that I didn't. So in that time period between like 18 and 22, it was great. But then you graduate from college, and it's that same oh crap moment where you're just like, what do I do now? And for so long, school had provided that structure that I needed and that daily motivation. But once I graduated from college, I was like, I'm going to go to graduate school now. And so I did. Like, I just keep pushing it off until I had kids. And then I worked for a year. And then I was just like, you know what? I want to be at home with my kids and have the experience of just being a mom and not working. Like I had worked since I was 5 years old. Right. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm going to not work for the first time in my life and just spend as much time as I can with my kids when they're little. which I cherish those memories now that I'm like, go away, you teenagers. Now I'm just like, I miss when you were little and we would
But you must have had
together.
days. Actually, that brings up another topic we were going to talk about. And fact that there was a poll. What do you think the hardest age to parent is?
My answer is whatever age my kids are.
Right. That's the answer.
Exactly the answer.
I mean, I haven't walked away yet, so I don't know if I've hit it.
Well, and I don't want to scare you guys, but my answer to that question, the hardest age
is 19 and 16.
Is 18. No, it's 18. It's the fresh baby adults they're freshly, legally adults, and so they have the hubris and the overconfidence of an adult, but then they still like need help with everything. So it's like, and then they don't want to listen to you because you're not my parent. Well, I am your parent, but you're an adult now. I don't have to listen to you. I'm an adult. I'm like, well, you live here, and
I provided
you with a car. So so it's like So anyway, so I would say 18, and that's been a learning curve. 19 has been better than 18. We're learning to cohabitate and respect each other's boundaries.
Still living at home.
Yeah, he's going to the local JC and taking classes there, and he works part-time as a server at an Italian restaurant.
Hello.
And he's doing great. I'm like, those are the two rules: be in school and have a part-time job, or work full-time, and then you can live here.
The community college thing is genius. I'm so amazed that kids nowadays, unless you're going for something very specific that you have to go to like a 4-year, but you can save so much money by going to and you pump your grades up a little bit. And then I know so many people who went to Santa Monica Community College and then transferred to like SC or whatever and only paid for their last 2 years. Same degree.
It's a great plan.
I know.
And then you have time to make mistakes too. Like I didn't know who I was at 18. You learn so much about yourself. You can change majors, change everything, change your course. And by the time you get into the big league schools, you have a better sense of direction.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny too, especially in California, or at least in the LA area of California. I have friends who are like college counselors who have said that the UC schools are actually it's impossible to get into, and just across the nation, apparently, the college process is very different than when we were going through college. You apply now to 30. It's like it becomes people's full-time job. It just seems to me like it's just a very different situation. And we have these friends who are college counselors who said the best thing you can do is go to a junior college for 2 years. And then because there's tons of spots for transfers in at junior year, there's not enough spots for freshmen to come in. So it's like such a great tip that I never would have considered.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
We're going to let my kid, she's going to disown us as parents. So what's it called when they
emancipated?
So we're going to have, just before my daughter goes to college, we're going to have her emancipate herself from us so that she has no income whatsoever.
Yeah.
Just before freshman year. And that way she'll get full financial aid. She'll get full.
Nice. Nice. That's forward thinking right there.
Wow.
Honestly, I also thought about just having some homeless guy adopt her and then still no income. Her address would be
full ride
under the bridge, full ride. Just it's all about money at this point. It's about working the rules in your favor.
There you go.
Speaking of, it's back to school. By the way, they said the age was 8 in the poll, which is crazy.
The hardest age is 8. Oh,
my daughter's 8.
No, I disagree.
And my daughter, this is the greatest year ever. She's still sweet. She helps. I thought 3. They say it's terrible 2s, but I think it's because it doesn't rhyme with 3. For me, 3. I thought 3 was absolutely brutal, but I'm going to have 2 teenage girls in a couple of years, and it's going to be karma. The karma police are going to show up.
I also feel
Jamie is Aunt Beckying the system.
No comment.
No comment.
No comment.
But Becky.
Oh no, we should have put that one up. Oh Lord.
It's fine.
I think
I actually didn't mean to. They're happening so fast that I clicked the wrong. They're so quick with the comments. I accidentally clicked someone I shouldn't.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. Well, now I lost it. I don't remember.
That's okay.
I also think what's hard for us is what our skill set is. I did not. I know so many women who loved the newborn phase, and I was like, this thing can't laugh at me yet. I have this thing does not interact with me. I really found the newborn. If you asked me, what's the hardest stage? I'm like, it's a newborn.
Oh, I thought
but there's so many women who are like, you're insane. It's the best time. I'm like, no.
Depends on the type of baby you have. If you got a colicky, needy baby, it's so hard. But if you have an easygoing baby that sleeps
They
Yeah.
still
16 hours a day. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
For
the
us,
sleepers.
the newborns were like very loud plants. They were just like you just were
Loud
trying to
plants.
keep it very loud.
Diapers.
House plants, just like
I mean, it's that terror of when you're like, is she breathing? And then you go to listen and you wake her up and then she starts and you're like, God. And then it takes that first year to let that go where you're like, look,
Yes.
if she's not breathing, there's nothing I can do, but I'm not waking that kid up right now. I'm going to lose my mind.
yeah.
And the diapers.
Don't wake the baby.
Don't wake the baby.
Don't wake the baby. Ever. Yes, Jade,
ever.
we can still see your comments. Hi, Jade.
Yeah.
Jay's like, I can't believe they said my
Hi,
name.
Jade. Yeah.
J.
Boy, Colleen, you are correct. My twins are vicious feral raccoons.
Mandrakes are the screaming plants from Harry
From
Potter.
Harry Potter, yeah.
Oh, sorry, the books, not the movie. There's just the books.
Just the books.
No, they're in the movies.
Stop, Jason.
He can say it.
Embargo.
I'm bound by nothing.
Well, we can talk about work that it's not like we didn't do the Harry Potter movies.
That's
Yeah,
so
you were
talk
not
about the Harry Potter. I wasn't in them, so I could talk about those.
Surprise! I was in them.
I'm Rupert Grint. No, that's not true.
Love it.
We
Love
can. So you're a Pelotoner. I noticed on your Instagram. Are you?
Did I put that? Yeah. Is that in my bio? My Peloton. That's my only form of exercise lately in our 95-degree heat we're having in Los Angeles. I love my Peloton. I got it right at the start of the pandemic.
Like
not even because of the pandemic.
Stock went through the roof.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then it all
fantastic. So that was my lifeline during the 2020 year.
Did your son miss his senior year?
No, he got so lucky. He graduated in 2022.
Okay.
So it was right when everything came, like he had the prom, he had graduation, like he had everything. Whereas I think it was the year before him where it was like some stuff. And the year before that, that's when like my nephew was the 2020 year. And so he didn't have a graduation. He didn't have a prom. Like it was awful. And then he enrolled in college and couldn't go to class. Like he was doing Zoom for 2 years. And I'm like,
I do think that whole generation is going to be scarred. Scarred.
That's what my therapist says. Yeah.
So our twins were, they were born in 2019 and literally everything shut down right after their first birthday. And so we are finding the developmental issues, especially with with everybody's mouths covered with the masks. There has been, we were told by our speech therapist that they're seeing such an uptick in kids being so far behind that some states are even changing the metrics that they're being measured at because they are no longer the same.
Wow. I'm not surprised though. That was a life-changing thing. And when you're in your formative years, that's huge.
Well, at least when it happens again in a couple of years, we'll be more prepared for it.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what? I'm sorry.
Baby's first pandemic.
Are you guys also actors or just Andrea? I just play an actor on TV.
Yeah. Jamie and I are also members of Screen Actors Guild.
We have parts.
And I came from paranormal reality television.
Yeah.
Mm.
So he is on
he's
strike
not
from the ghosts. Yeah.
So he's on strike from the ghosts.
It stinks. I have a show on tonight and I can't talk about it. I know.
Well, that's okay.
But it's if you ever went to a city in Washington and you went to their fire department.
Stop, Taylor.
Is it too much to go too far? Nobody.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No,
and I'm not going to go to my streamer after this and look you
not
up.
No,
I am not going to do that.
It is back to school, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Can we talk about prep? My wife just sent me the list.
Man, you are in the thick of it. Elementary school. My condolences. This part gets easier as they get older. In high school, they don't have a list anymore.
Oh my gosh. 2 pencil supply boxes, clear type 12-inch ruler, endless supply of pencils, endless supply of blue pens, box of crayons, 16-count journal, colored pencils, markers for coloring, glue stick, black Sharpie, permanent marker. Why would you give a kid a permanent marker? One highlighter, one black dry erase marker, old sock to be used as an eraser, small scissors, loose leaf notebook paper, baby wipes, goes on.
And a lot of those are classroom donations, right? It's not like your kid is going to be housing all of that stuff in.
No, we all chip in. I guess people send it in. We're at a little Catholic
I was going to say, you also could look into public school, in which case we don't have a supply list.
Oh, is that why? Is it because we're donating to God because we're a Catholic school?
I think private schools, I think for whatever reason, at least the California public schools get a certain stipend for supplies. And then like the teachers will be like, we don't have Kleenex or Lysol wipes. And then we'll all bring in like Kleenex and Lysol wipes, but we don't have.
God knows everything and he's everywhere, but he needs pencils is what
he doesn't know how to get some pencils.
He doesn't know how to get
how much writing he's doing up there. Give the man the break.
Taking notes. Yeah.
Also,
he's like, don't forget the glue sticks. I need glue sticks.
That's the key.
And an old sock to erase with.
Yeah.
There was a big, I read this thing about going back to school that people keep posting back to school with the actual school that their kids are going to.
No, don't do that.
And the police are coming out going, hey, ding dongs, don't do that. Like I always try to, even if it's in there, I squiggle it out and get rid of the school that's in the post and stuff, because otherwise
I saw one of the police officers posted that you shouldn't be posting your child's social security number on those things. I was like, what was he doing? Like, why did that even need to be addressed? Like,
oh, I was like, what kind of rule is that?
Somebody put social on there?
Yeah, they were the article there that you're talking about, that they have the police officer showing the kinds of acceptable ones, and then and what they should and can have on them, and then like the other one was like, you shouldn't be posting your child's social security number, and I was like, okay, well now I know. I'm so sorry I did that previously.
Wow.
So I'm going to take the bank account information off of it.
Right. You better take,
whatsoever. Home address. That's not.
Yeah. Blood type. Get that all. Yeah. Can't post that. Yeah.
Blood type.
Andrew, I always feel like parents always say like, oh, it goes so fast. It goes so fast. And my experience of that first year was I was surprised because everybody told me how fast it was going to go. And I was like, no, I'm surprised the child's not 7. Like, I cannot believe my baby's only turning 1.
No, it's like snail speed. Those early years.
Like, do you feel like looking back on, you have a 16-year-old and a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
Was it fast? Or
no, it was painfully slow. Especially when it's true, especially before they get to school and you're like, oh my God, I have to entertain these things.
Yeah.
That's why it's like, oh my God, how many play dates or gymboree dates or, there was not enough stuff that we could find. It gets a little better when they go to preschool.
Jen 28 goes, how dumb can you be posting hey, Jen, come on, people.
Well,
come on, Jen. People aren't that smart. Please, Jen. Be cool.
That's okay.
But it was slow for you.
Oh yeah. So it was, mind-numbingly slow when they're infants. And it does get better when they go to preschool. And then by the time they're in elementary school, that's when it speeds up, because then you don't see them for 6 hours a day.
Yes.
And then when you do see them, you're driving them to sports and their ballets or their performances or whatever.
Yes.
So that's when time speeds up. And now I'm just like, how do I have a baby adult now? Like that's, so, and cherish every year. I'm trying to cherish even these teenage years, because I'm like, I know I'll miss them when they move out. I will miss all the dirty dishes and the, leaving the lights on and all the loud slamming of the doors. I'm going to miss that.
You will?
That's what I tell myself to get through each day. I'm going to miss this someday. But I'm not there yet. That's not today. Not yet.
Yeah.
So,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I just go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I also have found that people are like, oh, I just miss babies. And again, obviously I'm just unpacking my own trauma from them being babies. But no, I also feel like, oh, I actually don't I love my kids. There's that song, I love you more today than yesterday. It's so true for kids. I just feel like I love, I don't actually want my 2-year-old back, because then does that mean I wouldn't have my 8-year-old? I just love them I love them. And I'm sure I am heading to a point where I'll be like, nope. I miss the 2-year-old because the 18-year-old is a nightmare, or this 15, whatever it is. But I just still feel like I'm in such sweet age. They're 8 and 5. I'm like,
I'm saying 8 and 10. If I could keep them here, they still come up and they go, "I love you, Daddy." And I'm like, and then they still don't clean their room, but it's okay.
That tracks.
I do. Do you notice this, Andrea? That before I had kids, I didn't feel like I was aging. Every year was the same. I was single, or whatever. But all of a sudden now, my daughter just turned 10 last week, and I was like, wow, that was a decade. I'm a decade.
You're a decade older.
Decade older than that. I just feel like they make me feel like I'm aging more than before I had kids.
Well, because it's a barometer. It's like a visual barometer of time, because they're getting taller and they're getting smarter, and they, then they start to argue with you and negotiate, and they actually have good points at times, and you're like, this was much easier when they were 3.
That's funny.
But yeah, no, I definitely feel they age you too. Like I'm 47, but in mom years, I'm like 88 because I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, whew, I've lost sleep. I've lost years off my life. They've caused me stress. I've got knots named after them on my neck. So yeah, they age you,
That's funny. True. Jeff asks, what's your thoughts on birth order traits?
Ooh, this is good.
I don't even know what that means. What's a
like,
birth
so
order?
Are you the firstborn? Are you the middle child in your growing up? Or are you the baby?
I'm the same as you. I'm youngest of 6. I'm a baby.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm the youngest of 3, but the only girl.
Oh,
okay.
Which does change things. I'm the youngest of 2. Okay. So I don't,
I'm the oldest of 2.
Okay. Okay.
I do have 4 older sisters though, so I was kind of a little mama's boy at home.
And Jamie, you were also like, I always, whenever there's 6 kids, I'm like, well, either the first or the last was a mistake. You were really the whoops, right?
I was. I always say I'm a single child of 6 because an only child of 6 because the closest one to me is 8 years older than me. There were 5 kids, Irish Catholics, and then 8 years later I came along, and my parents were like, they were older, and my dad was like, oh my God, what have we done? And then that poor guy got tormented, and now the karma police are paying me back for how I tortured that poor guy. So yeah, I think a lot of times the most spoiled, the favorite is the youngest.
Mm-hmm. Oh, my brothers would agree with that.
Yeah,
1,000%. Yeah, being the only girl and the youngest, and I'm 5 years younger than the next brother.
Okay, that's a big jump.
So they were off in college when I was in high school. But I do think there's something to be said for birth order because, like, as the youngest, I'm more of a follower. I'm not a leader. I'm not like a take charge person. I'm just kind of like, okay, let's, how can I please everyone and keep everyone happy and all together and nurture everyone. Whereas my oldest brother, he's very much in charge. He's like the guy that's going to get stuff done and make sure everybody's okay. And so yeah, I feel like firstborns are leaders and lastborns are followers and people pleasers. I don't know. That, at least in my family, and my kids are kind of the same way.
I've never heard that put that way before, but yeah, that makes a lot of sense because you kind of, somebody already blazed the trail for you, and you kind of just rode along it. But yeah, that's interesting.
I also feel like there's got to be something to it because anybody who's first kid out of the gate doesn't make any mistakes. It's like, or doesn't
pancake.
Like, I don't know. I feel like
pancake.
The way we documented
throw it out and get another one.
Yeah. The mistake pancake.
Yeah.
Better luck.
Well, it is true because you make all your mistakes on the, it's the first try. It's the first
learning.
Painting. Yeah, you're learning as a parent, and the kids don't understand that, but you're like, oops, I messed that one up. I remember I dropped her one time. I think I was trying to take a picture or something. With her.
Oh, no.
Oops. I was like, oh, I guess that was not going to college. I don't know.
Oh, man.
And my wife was like, what? Lost my mind.
My husband's the youngest of 4, and the family took all of the pictures and put them on a DVD for them to watch, like compiled them all. And it's like 12 minutes of the oldest daughter. It's like a solid 5 of the next brother. It's a couple pictures of like the third. And then there's just a picture of a kid riding by on a bike. And that's my husband, like youngest of 4.
Andrea, will you give Ashley a shout out, please?
Oh yeah. Hi, Ashley Thomas. Thanks for your kind comments. I saw your.
She's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, there was another one earlier, but I can't. I don't want to interrupt my.
No, you can
wonderful
interrupt.
It's
it's your show. Do only children get all our mistakes? And
Carrie. Hi, Carrie. I know her too. Do only children get all our mistakes? Yeah. Well,
my daughter's friend's an only child, and she's very quiet. There's no. I have 2 little girls, and they're 18 months apart, and whether they're playing or whatever, they are like loud and killing each other. And I do think only childs are, I don't know, more reserved, more quiet. Maybe is that wrong?
See, with twins, like it got split right down the mid. Like our Logan is a carbon copy of his mother, and unfortunately, the other one is a carbon copy of his father. And there's a darkness there.
Oh,
Andrea, before I let you go, I want to do a little quiz.
Oh, I love quizzes.
And we won't talk about the specific dad from your show.
Okay.
Who's one of the TV's greatest dads and one of my fave comics of all time, Mr.
Well,
Bob Saget.
we can talk about him. Yeah.
I loved him, but here's the quiz. Bob's the best.
Bob is not struck work, so we can talk about
Bob is not struck work. And
no, he wants people to keep talking about it. He's up there right now.
He's like, up there laughing his ass off.
Bring me up.
I did stand up with him a bunch, and it's funny how filthy on stage he was, considering how he was on that show. Like he did a set, and I was like, oh my God, I was rolling laughing.
Wait, that's Bob Saget? Yeah, it's so shocking.
Filthy. He was
that
the
shock
best.
Factor.
And he's arguably one of the greatest dads that's ever been on television. But I had made a cup because I kept laughing that I kept getting, cups that said world's greatest dad. So we made a cup that was the world. So it was the world's 6th greatest dad. And then the list was this. So the list was 1, Ward Cleaver, 2, Howard Cunningham, 3, Mike Brady, Brady Bunch, Phil Dunphy from
Good one.
Modern
Family.
Yeah. Modern Family. And Carl Winslow is
Family Matters.
That's Family Matters.
Then you're number 6, and then it starts to get south. It goes Archie Bunker, Al Bundy, Walter White from Breaking Bad. I don't know.
Walter. I don't know if I.
And then Tony Soprano was number 10 because he killed people as well.
Wow.
What
a list?
Who were some of the shows that I guess, can we talk about the greatest parents on TV?
Yeah, as long as we don't talk about our own shows,
that's right.
I think we're fine.
My friend,
we're not having a show.
He married Marion Ross's daughter, who
no way.
She's the mom from Happy Days.
Right.
And so his kids, their grandmother is Marion from Happy Days, which is really funny.
Such a great grandma too. She's got good grandma energy.
She's pretty crazy, but yes. But it's so funny to see, like, when you're that iconic as a TV parent, you're living in this crazy under the glass, like Bob. Like Bob was this crazy.
He was America's dad.
He was really America's dad, and then to go back to your real life to live like that.
Yeah.
Who were some of the people that you kind of thought of as parents, TV parents back in the day?
Oh gosh. I'm trying to remember what shows I watched.
I
didn't watch a lot of TV growing. Like as a child actor, you're on TV, so you don't. I worked on Friday nights, so I didn't watch the any of the
Friday night
lineups
was
on the Friday
night. Yeah.
So I didn't grow up watching any of those shows.
What were some of the lessons you got from your parents? We always ask that about, like, some of the best people will always go, my dad always said this. Like, I think my kids are always going to say, my father would say, because I always say, focus on the task at hand.
Oh, that's good.
And then move to the next one. It's some Navy garbage from back in my Navy days. But were the things that your parents always said to you that you can remember? My parents are so great. You know what? Okay, this seems weird, but I'm going to say it anyways. But one of the best things, and I use this every day still, that my mom taught me was Ohio. Only handle it once. So if you walk in and you take off your coat, don't just throw it on the floor, because then you're going to have to pick it up, and then you're going to put it on the couch, and then you have to pick it up off the couch, and then you have to. So it's like, no, take off your coat and either put it in the laundry or hang it up. And then you only handle it once, and you don't handle it another 10 times trying to hide it or clean up. So Ohio.
Yeah. Oh,
that's one of the handful of skills. It's
kind of mind blowing, right?
For super successful people.
But also, it can also be with like relationships too. Like with like you get in a fight. Let's not go back. Let's not go through this again.
Don't rehash. Handle it now, and then put it to sleep.
Only handle it once. Oh my
Ohio.
God.
For me, I applied it to bills.
That's great advice, yeah.
I always apply it to bills. I'll sit there, I'll have a stack of bills, and sometimes you pick up the bill and you go, I'll take care of this later. And you're like, just do it now.
Yep.
I tell my kids that all the time. I go, if you just got ready, then sat down to watch TV, that would be fine. But you sit down to watch TV, and then I go, we got to go. And you go, I'm not ready. You go, dude. They just can't.
I used that advice with my first marriage. I just handled it the one time.
Oh, well, only handle it once. There you go. Yeah. Bye-bye.
That's a good one. That was from your mom? That was a good one.
That's awesome.
What about your dad?
My dad's the finance guy. So he's a lawyer, but he's obsessed with stocks and finances and stuff.
He was like, get an S Corp.
Yes, no, it's true. Like all of his advice is about how to manage your money and don't spend more than you have to. You live modestly and save a lot and live a good life, but it doesn't need to be an extravagant life to be a good life. And that's how you stay financially healthy, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's practical advice. It's not very nurturing, but it's good practical, like financial advice.
So it's
Yeah.
I mean, I think becoming an actor kind of taught me that, even though my parents had instilled that earlier of like, don't spend it until there, and don't even spend it. Like, just don't spend it. But it's tough in this town, especially, it's not so much again with the dads, but the moms are like, there's a reason Louis Vuitton store in Glendale got
it got smashed. Well, it's hard with the kids too, because now that my 19-year-old is making his own money at the restaurant where he serves, like, he just wants to spend it because he's like, he's got money. He doesn't have to beg mom. He doesn't, he's just like, he loves it. And so I'm like, yeah, why don't we start a savings, because you have a car and it might need maintenance, or save money for a rainy day. And he just wants to spend it because he has it. And I'm like, I get it. But so that's another lesson I'm trying to instill in the baby adult.
That is something that this generation is. I had a fight with people where it's like, they go, oh, come on, you deserve that jet ski. It's only $21 a month for the next 17 years. And you can enjoy it now. But there's a reason. Do you know this country has $1 trillion of credit card debt?
What? That's depressing.
That's
in this
almost
country,
as much money as a Barbie movie made this week.
That's kind of
right.
Bill Gates could literally just pay off everyone's credit card. But people are carrying $1 trillion of debt, and on a MasterCard, 26%, because it's in Montana, and they have fiduciary laws that don't limit the amount of loan shark interest rates they can put on people's bills, and people they go, listen, just the minimum payment, $41, that's all you got to pay, don't worry about it. We'll do the interest rate. I know. I wish my dad was more like your dad, because my dad, he had 6 kids and he sold cars, so he didn't really have any money to worry about in the investment. It was all going into the day-to-day to keep it alive. But since I grew older, and then was like, and as an actor especially, you're like, every job, you're like, I don't know if I'm ever going to work again. Right.
You're like, I got to make this last. And so, and people don't get that. People are like, oh my God, actors are so rich. And I'm like, no, like, I might have made a lot of money today, but then I might not work for another 360 days. So
that's right. Even when you shoot the show, you're only shooting that show for, 4 or 5 months of the year, and the rest of the year you're
the rest of the year. It's like,
and the bad years have to pay for the good years. So you have to, I mean, that's
plan for the bad years.
People don't understand about, especially when it comes to like these strikes in the unions.
Well, it's not just us. Our garbage didn't get picked up. LA trash workers were on strike. So I mean, the monetary gap between the Uber, I mean, when a guy has a $500 million yacht, and a bunch of other kids don't have internet or fresh water in this country, something.
Yep.
I love that fresh water and internet were in the same sentence for you.
There's people in this country without internet, and they don't have fresh water. Like,
right. Like they're
you kind of need both.
Right.
Have you ever tried to buy anything without, you can't even, like, you go to the store and they go, there's an app, there's something. I just got another casting app today. My agent sent me some new casting app I got to sign up for or something.
All right.
Hello, everyone. What did that say?
Hello, everyone. Can I give you my social security number?
Yes, Josh.
Did you not hear me running earlier? The cop said not to do that.
Fantastic. No, Josh, please.
Josh was not listening. That's
what we're all going to sign off. I'm going to get ready. We're all going to sign off.
I do laugh, though, because it's like we're all so private with our info. And they're like, well, AI knows everything already about you. It has all your photos on Instagram. It can hear your voice. Because that's the new spamming, is that there's an app where people can make it look like the phone call is coming from your child, and then they can take their voice off of Instagram and talk into the phone. It will come out like your son's voice, and the thing will say, and he'll go like, hey, I'm in jail in Mexico. Can you send $3,000? Have you seen that? That's happening.
Terrifying. Terrifying. Like, the robots scare me. We don't need more robots.
We started dark and we're ending dark. This is
how we always do it.
Well,
Parenthood is dark.
Seems pretty par for the course.
Andrea, can we talk about your podcast, which is very large?
Thank you. Yeah, no, we just Jodie Sweet and I just launched a podcast, and I have to be tedious here too. It's called How Rude Tanneritos. It's a rewatch podcast. We're very excited about it, and the reason why we can do it is because we got permission from Screen Actors Guild, because we're providing services to iHeartMedia. iHeartMedia is not a struck company.
Yes.
So because Jodie and I signed these contracts months ago, before a strike was on the horizon, we need to honor those contracts with iHeartMedia. So 100%. That's why we're hosting a podcast. It's great. It's fun. It's hysterical. Jodie and I have a great chemistry and banter, and I try to poke fun at her as much as I can. And please check it out.
It's super
Wherever
funny.
your
And there's
podcasts
a Instagram where you can even check out short little clips before you even go do the whole thing. It's fantastic and stuff.
Great.
So, yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'm very excited about it. We're just
We
starting.
are so excited to have you come do the show. Thank you so much
absolutely.
for coming and playing with us.
Truly such a treat. And
Thank you.
think like if somebody said to me, like, what do you imagine Andrea Barber as? I'd be like, I imagine that she is as down to earth and kind as she is talented. And that is a large quantity of great traits right there.
That is so sweet.
It is so true.
That just made my whole week. Thank you so much.
I mean,
that was,
you are a little too nice. Too honestly.
No, I'll be a raging biatch next time you invite me into the
honestly, it was a nice counterbalance to the rest of us, so it was well appreciated.
I'll try to bring some light into the
asked
dark.
if we go live on Thursdays. We do not. We are typically live Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. and you can listen to this on iTunes as well or wherever you get your podcasts. But we did a very special Thursday night show because we were so excited to have Andrea Barber here. We wanted to make it out one-off, but we're typically Tuesday nights.
And we will be live next Thursday night with Reed Scott from Venom, Veep, and the fabulous Mrs. Mizell. He will be here with us next week.
That is true. And we got some great comics coming up. Jeff Foxworthy, the Larry the Cable Guy, Bill Engvall, and a bunch of other peeps coming to by. And honestly, really great. Thank you for doing it. And it's more of a round table, and we like just chatting about stuff.
I love it. No, this is great. I got to tune in next week too because this is fun. You guys are awesome. Love the camaraderie. Love the topics. Even love the darkness. I'm here for all of it.
Listen, we call it. We typically call it as Parental Mental Health Night. And the problem is a lot of people. You watch people's posts, and they are sitting there saying, and they're so sincere, and they're like, "I'm losing it. We're all hanging on by a thread." Everyone is in credit card debt. And sometimes you think you're the only one. You're like, oh my gosh, that's what happened to me. That's how this whole thing started. And I was like, is this what parenthood is? This is insanity. And then the more I talked to other people, everyone's like, oh no, it takes a village, and so there's a camaraderie and it's dark and it's fun and it's what it is. But it just hopefully makes everyone else feel a little bit better about what they're going through because we're all going through insanity. So, that was it.
Yep. Love it.
Thank you guys so much. We're just going to wrap this whole beast and get it out of here. Thanks to everyone for tuning in, and all the comments were hilarious. We're sorry we couldn't get to everybody. Unfortunately, Andrea has too many fans. Maybe she'll go through, or we'll go through later, and we'll respond to each comment individually.
Oh, nice.
And we'll have to have you come back after the strike.
Yes, then we can talk. Yeah, it's open season, and then we can talk about all the things we couldn't talk about tonight.
So we'll see you at the end of 2025. It's going to be
man. Don't you say that.
Did it get dark again right at the end, Jamie? Why? You had it. You had it.
It was a smooth sailing, outro, and then
my partners in crime, Kate Mulligan, Jason Gowan. I'm Jamie Kaler. Our wonderful guest this evening, Andrea Barber. Thank you so much for joining us. Definitely check her out and check us out, and we'll see you guys next time here in the Parents Lounge.
We'll see you live next Tuesday night at 10, 7 Pacific. Good night, everybody.